Here's what to expect. You have to break the problem down into 4 simple steps. You divide, multiply, subtract, and bring down. Do it over and over until the quotient is found.
Before we break the long division problem down, here's a couple of terms that you're gonna hear about.
Divisor is the number that goes into another. How many times it can is what you will discover. The dividend is the number being divided. You know that weird looking bracket? It's the number inside it. Quotient, now that's another term for the answer. It's a fancy word, but it's what your teacher will prefer. And you get a remainder sometimes when the dividend doesn't equally divide.
Divisor, dividend, quotient, remainder. Divisor, dividend, quotient, remainder.
When you do long division, here's what to expect. You have to break the problem down into 4 simple steps. You divide, multiply, subtract, and bring down. Do it over and over until the quotient is found.
And now we're going to learn how to divide. It's a math problem, but we'll try our best to make it rhyme.
Now let's divide 75 by 3. You gotta find out how many groups of 3 you'll need. 3 goes into 7 only 2 times. So you write the number 2 on the line
Above the 7.
Multiply that 2 by 3. 2 times 3 is 6, so write that underneath where the 7 is. And now it's time to subtract. 7 minus 6 is 1, so be sure to write that. And now it's time to bring down the 5 beside the 1. Now a 15 comes alive. And here's what the next step should be. 15 has how many groups of 3?
5.
If you know your math facts, you'll get it. 3 times 5 is 15.
There, we said it.
So now you write that 5 on the line right beside the 2 above the 75. Multiply the 5 times the divisor.
3.
That gives you 15, so you write that at the bottom of the problem. Subtract it from the first 15, and that leaves you with 0. No remainder to be seen.
Division is the opposite of multiplication. Multiplication builds things up, and division splits things into smaller equal groups. You are probably used to seeing division like this. 50 divided by 5 equals 10. These are things you already know, but now we are going to see division problems that look like this. Here we have 372 divided by 3. In this problem, the 372 is the dividend, the 3 is the divisor, and the answer, also known as the quotient, will be put on top. To solve long division problems like this one, there are different ways to do it. Today we are learning just one of these ways. Now that we have this out of the way, let's jump in. But first, I have a question for you. Do monkeys sell crispy bananas? Well, do they? I need to know. Repeat this with me. Do monkeys sell crispy bananas? This might seem silly, but this phrase will help us remember the steps in long division. The steps that we do go along with this silly question. Division, multiplication, subtraction, check, and bring down. If you forget these steps, think of our question. Do monkeys sell crispy bananas? The first step is division. We ask ourselves, how many times does our divisor go into our dividend? But we are not going to do all the numbers at once. We are breaking it down digit by digit. To start, we divide 3 into the first digit closest, which is 3. So how many 3's will it take to make 3 or almost 3? This one is easy because 3 divided by 3 is 1. Because we are dealing with this number, the answer will go directly above the number being divided. The next step is to multiply. 1 multiplied by 3 equals 3, and we put it directly below the number we are working on. Now we move on to the next step, which is subtraction. 3 subtract 3 is 0, so we put a 0 here. Up to this point, we have done 3 of the steps. We divided, multiplied, and subtracted. What is the next step? Check is the next step. We check to see if the divisor 3 can still go into the number after subtraction. If it can go into this number, then we may have made a mistake. The answer is no. 3 does not go into 0, so by checking, we know we did it correctly up to this point. Our last step is bring down. We bring down the next digit, which is 7. With the 7 down here, we start all of our steps again. Does 3 go into 7? And if so, how many times? 3 goes into 7 2 times. We write a 2 up above for the answer. We multiply 3 by 2 and get 6. We write the 6 below and move on to the next step. The next step is subtraction. 7 subtract 6 gives us 1. We now check by seeing if our divisor of 3 goes into 1. The answer is no, so we did that correctly. Our last step is to bring down the next digit from above. We bring down the 2, and now we have 12. Now we start the steps all over again. We first divide. 12 divided by 3 is 4, so we write a 4 up above for the answer. Now we multiply 4 by 3, which is 12, and write that below. The next step is subtraction. 12 subtract 12 is 0. We now check and see if 3 goes into 0, which it does not. The last step is to bring down, and if we look above, there is nothing left to bring down, so we are now done with the problem. The quotient or answer is what we wrote above the division box. 124 is the answer. Great job, kids! We just completed a long division problem. Now you know why they call it long division. Get it? That's a joke. Get it? Okay, so I'm not very funny, but at least we learned the basics of long division. Thank you for joining me today. The more you practice long division, the easier it will be. So keep on practicing. Now let's jet.
Divide. Let's find 57 divide 3. When dividing in columns, we go through steps of dividing, multiplying, subtracting, and bringing down. In the first step, we divide. Let's divide the tens. 5 tens divide 3 gives a quotient of 1. We write the 1 in the tens column at the top. Next, we multiply. 1 10 times 3 equals 3 tens. Now we subtract. 5 tens minus 3 tens equals 2 tens. Bring down the ones. Now we have 27 ones. Divide the 27 ones by 3. 27 divide 3 equals 9. We write the 9 in the ones column at the top. Multiply. 9 ones times 3 equals 27 ones. Subtract. 27 minus 27 equals 0. There are no more numbers to bring down. We have finished dividing. 57 divide 3 equals 19. Let's find 956 divide 4. Start by dividing the hundreds. 9 hundredths divide 4 leaves a quotient of 2. Write the 2 in the hundredths column at the top. Multiply. 2 hundredths times 4 equals 8 hundredths. Subtract. 9 hundredths minus 8 hundredths equals 100. Bring down the tens. Now we have 15 tens. Divide. 15 tens divide 4 gives a quotient of 3. Write the 3 in the tens column at the top. Multiply. 3 tens times 4 equals 12 tens. Subtract. 15 tens minus 12 tens equals 3 tens. Bring down the ones. We now have 36 ones. Divide. 36 ones divide 4 equals 9 ones. Write the 9 in the ones column at the top. Multiply. 9 ones times 4 equals 36 ones. Subtract. 36 minus 36 equals 0. There are no more numbers to bring down. We have finished dividing. 956 divide 4 equals 239.
Let's find 774 divide 3. Start by dividing the hundreds. 700 divide 3 equals 200. Multiply 3 times 200 equals 600. Subtract. 700 minus 600 equals 100. Bring down the tens. We now have 17 tens. 17 tens divide 3 equals 5 tens. Multiply 3 times 5 tens equals 15 tens. Subtract. 17 tens minus 15 tens equals 2 tens. Bring down the ones. We now have 24 ones. 24 divide 3 equals 8. Multiply. 3 times 8 equals 24. Subtract. 24 minus 24 equals 0. So 774 divide 3 equals 258. Divide. Let's find 8,575 divide 7. Start by dividing the thousands. 8,000 divide 7 equals 1,000. Multiply. 7 times 1,000 equals 7,000. Subtract. 8,000 minus 7,000 equals 1,000. Bring down the hundreds. We now have 15 hundreds. 1500 divide 7 equals 200. Multiply. 7 times 200 equals 1400. Subtract. 1500 minus 1400 equals 100. Bring down the tens. We now have 17 tens. 17 tens divide 7 equals 2 tens. Multiply. 7 times 2 tens equals 14 tens. Subtract. 17 tens minus 14 tens equals 3 tens. Bring down the ones. We now have 35 ones. 35 divides 7 equals 5. 7 times 5 equals 35. 35 subtract 35 equals 0. So 8,575 divided 7 equals 1,225.
Long division is a step-by-step method for dividing the multi-digit numbers. It involves 4 basic steps: divide, multiply, subtract, and bring down, and then repeating the process. Use the acronym DMSB, which stands for divide, multiply, subtract, and bring down. It is an easy way to remember the steps of long division. Use any of these: dirty monkeys smell bad, dad, mom, sister, brother, or does McDonald's sell burgers? Let's divide 768 by 3. To begin, ask how many times 3 goes into 7. That is, what's 7 divided by 3? The answer is 2, with a little left over. So write 2 directly above the 7. Now multiply 3 by 2 to get 6. Place the product directly below the 7 and draw a line beneath it. Subtract 6 from 7 to get 1. After you subtract, the result should be less than the divisor. In this problem, the divisor is 3. 3 is greater than 1, so it's okay. Then bring down the next number, 6, to make the new number 16. Now ask how many times 3 goes into 16. That is, what's 16 divided by 3? The answer is 5, with the remainder. So write 5 above the 6. Then multiply 3 by 5 to get 15. Write the product under 16. Subtract 15 from 16 to get 1. After you subtract, the result should be less than the divisor. 1 is less than 3, so it's okay. Then bring down the next number, 8, to make the new number 18. Another cycle is complete, so begin the next cycle by asking how many times 3 goes into 18. That is, what's 18 divided by 3? The answer this time is 6. Write down 6 above the 8. Multiply 3 by 6 and place this below the 18. Now subtract 18 from 18 to get 0. Because you have no more numbers to bring down, you are finished, and the answer is 256. Let's try another example. Divide 4,351 by 6. To begin, ask how many times 6 goes into 4. None. That's because the first digit, taken by itself, is less than the divisor. 4 is less than 6. Write 0 or just leave a space above the 4. Let's group the 4 and the 3 together. Now ask how many times 6 goes into 43. That is, what's 43 divided by 6? The answer is 7, with a little left over. So write 7 directly above the 3. Now multiply 6 by 7 to get 42. Place the product directly below the 43 and draw a line beneath it. Subtract 42 from 43 to get 1. After you subtract, the result should be less than the divisor. 1 is less than 6, so it's okay. Then bring down the next number, 5, to make the new number 15. Now ask how many times 6 goes into 15. That is, what's 15 divided by 6? The answer is 2, with the remainder. So write the 2 above the 5, and then multiply 6 by 2 to get 12. Write the product under 15. Subtract 12 from 15 to get 3. After you subtract, the results should be less than the divisor. 3 is less than 6, so it's okay. Then bring down the next number, 1, to make the new number 31. Another cycle is complete, so begin the next cycle by asking how many times 6 goes into 31. That is, what's 31 divided by 6? The answer is 5, with the remainder. So write the 5 above the 1, and then multiply 6 by 5 to get 30. Write the product under 31. Now subtract 30 from 31 to get 1. You have no more numbers to bring down. 1 is the remainder. You are finished. The answer is 725 with the remainder of 1. If you like
For example, we have 500 divided by 10. So let's divide this using the long division. We have 500 divided by 10. So we'll start with 50 because 5 is smaller than 10, so we'll use 2 digits. 50 divided by 10 is 5 because 5 times 10 is 50, and that's exactly the same. So let's subtract. 50 minus 50 is 0. Then bring down 0. So 0 divided by 10 is 0 because 0 times any number is 0. Then subtract 0 by 0 is of course that's 0. And there's no more number to bring down, so there's no remainder in our answer. So the quotient of 510 is 50. Now let me show you an easier way to divide numbers, multiples of tens, hundreds, or thousands, divided by tens, hundreds, or thousands. So for example, the previous one, 500 divided by 10. So 500 is a multiple of hundreds, meaning it contains zeros at the right. So there's an easier way to do it aside for the long division. It's multiples of dividing multiples of tens. So we can just cancel the zeros because there's 1 0 in the divisor. We remove also 1 0 from the dividend, which is 5. So now it becomes 50 divided by 1. So a number divided by 1 is just itself. So this is equal to 50. And that's easier than the long division. Now let's try another one. We have 2,900 divided by 10. So we'll cancel 1 zeros in both dividend and divisor. So we are left with 290 divided by 1. So this is equal to 290. Another one, we have 1700, or we read it as 1700 divided by 100. So in our divisor we have 2 zeros, and we also have 2 zeros in the dividend, so we can cancel the pairs of zeros. So by the way, whenever you cancel zeros, it should be by pair. If 1 0 doesn't have a pair, then you cannot cancel. So this is equal to 17 divided by 1 will be 17. And that's easier to do than the long division. Now how about this? 1505 divided by 10. So we can see zeros, and is this okay to do? Can we cancel the zeros? Then that is a pair of zeros. So actually you can't cancel these zeros because 1505 is not multiple of 10 or even hundreds, even though it contains 0. You can only cancel zeros at the right where there's no non-zero numbers. But here we have 5 on the right side of 0, so that 0 doesn't mean it's multiple of 10. So again, you can cancel zeros when it is on the right side of all non-zero numbers. So let's remove this because you cannot cancel that. Let's just divide and use long division. So if we divide 1 by 10, we cannot do that because 1 is smaller than 10. So we'll use the